Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be sharing a scary story with you. I do these on my channel every now and again, and today's story is true. Now, I can say that it's true because it happened to me. So if you're interested in that, stick around because I'm about to get started. But before I do, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe because it really does help me out a lot and it's always greatly appreciated. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. So normally when I do these videos, I go ahead and I do a makeup look and share a story with you guys and let you go ahead and decide whether you think it is true or not. But today's story is definitely true. And I already have my makeup on. I hope you don't mind. But I really like this look and I didn't want to wash it off. I'm sure this video is probably going to be up where I'm creating this look. I hope you guys go and check it out. If you haven't, I'll go ahead and link it in the video below so you can go ahead and see it. It's a lot of fun. I really like the look. So I'm leaving this today, sharing this story with you guys. And I waited till Halloween because I thought it'd be the perfect time to go ahead and share it. And yeah, today's the day. So let's go ahead and get into it. Many years ago, I grew up in housing and urban development, HUD, if you never heard of it. It's, low income housing. And my mom worked really hard to raise me and my sister. She was by herself and it was, a struggle for her. It was a lot of responsibility. And, back then when we lived in this apartment, it's nothing against it. I'm glad that we had this place to live and it was affordable. It was where I could spend most of my childhood. I grew up in this apartment complex. But one thing I will say about it is that there was a heaviness there. And there were a lot of people that were struggling. There were, gangs. There was drugs. There were things going on that, I witnessed at a young age that, were just prevalent there. There was a lot of negativity and you could feel it. It was palpable. And I remember recognizing it as a kid. Now, my mom has told me that before we moved into this apartment complex, we had lived in one previously. I don't remember, I guess I was too young, and she said that that place was haunted and that she and her siblings, my aunts and uncles, would see things moving out of the corner of their eye, and they had experienced some encounters there themselves that was just kind of eerie. But the place I remember is the place I grew up, and it's called the Biltmore. I've gone back there a couple times since I moved back here to California, and it's a place that I want to take you guys, maybe do a couple pictures and stuff like that, but maybe I'll just go ahead and pop them up here on the screen because it's not the best neighborhood. Let me just say it that way. I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood, and by saying what I said previously, I'm pretty sure you've already figured that out. And the place does have a feeling that is just very negative. And I wonder if because there's so much negativity there, that's what had kind of drawn the hauntedness of it all. I don't know if it's built on something that it shouldn't be built on. I'm not 100% certain, but what I can say for sure is that it is absolutely haunted. It is. And what I remember before I get into the story is that when I was a kid, I would come home. Like I said, my mom worked a couple of jobs and we'd have to let ourselves in. We called ourselves latchkey kids back then. That was the term. And I was, fourth grade, fifth grade, still in elementary school. I hadn't even gotten into junior high yet when this particular night had occurred. Now, I would come home and you could sometimes, not every day, you could sometimes feel like you weren't alone. I had seen at times something, moving out of the corner of my eye. I'd look down the hallway and there'd be nothing there. And you would feel like every now and again, like a presence, a heaviness, like you were being watched. Someone was there. Even though my mom was at work, my sister was with her friends and stuff, and I was in the apartment alone, I felt like someone or something was there watching, that I was not by myself. True, 100%. I kid you not. And there were nights where I would, I shared a room with my sister when we were kids, and I'd be sleeping and I could hear like someone walking around, footfalls on the carpet, like someone was walking around the apartment at night. For a very long time when I was a kid, I would have night terrors. I didn't like to sleep by myself. I was scared. I'd have terrible dreams. This night in particular was no exception. I was having a really bad dream. I had gone into my mom's room because, again, I was very young and I was scared. And I was sleeping next to my mom. I'd fallen asleep and I was having this nightmare that I was being chased by this woman. She had long black hair. She was wearing all black and she had in her hand this long, it was like a sickle, but a knife. It didn't have a staff. It was just like a long knife that was curved like a sickle. And I remember running from her, and she, in the dream, could run so fast and I was running in what felt like slow motion. I don't know if you've ever had a dream like that, but you could just it's like you're trying to run through mud and you cannot get away from whatever, whoever is chasing you. And that was really what this dream was like. And it was right at that moment where she was right about to get me in this dream that I woke up. And I'm telling you, I woke up because I remember I had my head under the blanket and I was just trembling because I was so afraid. It felt so incredibly real. I was terrified. Middle of the night, I'm right next to my mom, but I'm too scared to wake her up. I'm just, I don't want to bother her. She's already dealt with my bad dreams for, a very long time. And I was just too scared to really think of anything as a child back then. I was just too scared. And I'm just sitting there just trembling. And the door was open at the time that, looked out into the hallway. And it's late night. And I go ahead to get out of the covers because I was thinking to go to the bathroom or something. I decided to go ahead and sit up in bed. So I pull the covers off and I sit up in bed and I'm trying, I guess, to collect myself. I don't know, but I remember like it was yesterday that I was sitting up in bed. And for whatever reason, I looked out into the hallway and it was dark. But when I looked out into the hallway, I could see someone standing in the hallway. And it was a woman. And I kid you not, it was like she was so incredibly tall, she had to crunch down to fit into the hallway. Very slender, long black dress, long black hair, had almost like an iridescent kind of white kind of face and just almost like black eyes. I could see her, even though it was dark, I could see her so very clearly, and she was looking at me in the most menacing, most terrifying way with a slight smile on her face, and her arms were behind her back. And I remember it all like it was yesterday because I feel like I stared at her and she stared at me for the longest time. I did not blink. I was frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I was so completely freaking terrified looking at this woman staring at me like she was getting ready to end me at any moment. And I just sat there just frozen, and I don't know what it was or how I snapped out of it, but I grabbed the covers and I threw them over my head and I curled up in a little ball. And again, I was too afraid to wake my mom. I didn't know what to think, what to do. I was just terrified. I just lay there shuddering for, I don't know, the longest time, thinking that any minute this woman is, gonna get me. And I don't know how the night went on or what happened after that of just laying there for so long before the sun did come up. And I must have at some point fallen back to sleep. I can't tell you how because I was terrified. I don't know how I managed to do that. But morning had come and my mom, was out of the bed. I opened my eyes or whatever and was looking around. It's daylight, looked out into the hallway, terrified to see that no one was there. It's sunlight, birds are chirping, all that stuff. And I get up out of the bed and I walk out in the hallway. My mom's in the kitchen. I can hear her. And as I'm walking to go ahead and turn the corner to get into the kitchen, I see on the wall there is a card. And in the card, it's the picture of a woman who's walking through a wheat field. She's wearing an all black dress and she has long black hair and a white face. I think in that moment I stopped breathing and was wide-eyed just staring at this for the longest time. I don't know why I'd never noticed before, but I'd never even bothered to look at it before. I'd gone and got my mom and I showed her the card and she was, like, what's the big deal? I got this for my friend. What's the problem? And I looked at her and I said, that woman was in our hallway last night. That woman was standing in our hallway last night. Now, my mom did take the card down and I never saw it again, but I think that she chalked it up to something as like, another one of my bad dreams, which I can understand. I did suffer with them for, a long time before I finally, was able to get over them and not really have that big struggle any longer. But I can tell you honestly that I know for a fact that I experienced that moment, and I had experienced many unsettling moments in that home. I never saw the woman again, but I was wide awake that night when I sat up in bed, and I was looking at her and she was looking at me. I was not dreaming. It was like somehow I pulled her out of my dream, or she'd maybe been there all along. I don't know. And it wasn't just our place that had that haunted feel. I would hang out with friends who lived in the same apartment complex as I did, and there were feelings and things happening over in their apartments too, that you were being watched, or you'd see something out of the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you turned to look, and it just really seemed to be everywhere. And yeah, it was a place where there was a lot of negativity going on, and there was a lot of struggle, and there was a lot of problems, and to this day I don't really know the full history of the place. I never really looked into it, but I can tell you that even if I were to go there, as I had recently when I first came back to California, and I did walk around in there around the afternoon or whatever, and I just did every now and again because I get nostalgic, and I did. I spent a great deal of my childhood there. That feeling is still there, and I don't know if anyone lives in that apartment, but I'd be curious to get over there and ask if it were even possible, if they'd ever experienced anything, you know, while they were living there, because there is something there. I mean, I feel like it would still be there to this day, and I know for a fact that what I experienced was 100% real and 100% terrifying. So that is one of the stories of what I experienced while living in that apartment complex, and it is 100% true. So let me know what you think in the comments. Just want to thank you so much for sticking around and watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, stay alert.